Hi, and welcome back to a new podcast series. We're called MEC Sports. MEC stands for the first letter of each of our last names, and we're today going to be talking about the NCAA tournament, mainly just our favorite teams, Iowa and Iowa State, but also a little bit about other conference tournaments.
Let's just start off by introducing ourselves. If you've listened to our podcast on other podcasts, you would know who we are. Becky, you start.
I'm Bucket. I go by Bucket.
He goes by Bucket, but his name is Beckett.
I'm Bucket Mosel.
Bucket Mosel, we'll call him that. And that's the first letter of MEC. That goes from Mosel, Beckett's last name. And other Beckett.
I go by Bucket Jr., but you can call me Beckett. My last name starts with an E, so that's why there's the E in Beck.
And my name is Micah. My last name starts with a K, so that ends the MEC with the letter K. So let's just start off. I'm the only Iowa State fan here. The other two are Iowa fans, so I'm gonna like the first part of this one. We're gonna talk about some good things and some bad things about the Hawkeyes and college basketball this year. I'm gonna start off. We're gonna start off by saying bad stuff.
And by the way, we're recording this right as the Houston versus
Colorado
game,
and also the Northwestern Wisconsin game for the Big Ten.
Those two are going on right now, so right as we're recording that.
Yeah.
We're looking at those scores, so.
So we're gonna, so let's just say some bad things that have happened to the Iowa Hawks this season.
First of all, but making it. Sorry about the bell. We're in school, so. But they made it to the Big Ten tournament.
As a 15
Iowa
seed
fan, I'm still pretty happy about that. Suck at Nebraska, but that was a good game, and
they played. They shot well in that game.
Did. That's Iowa's key to winning, shooting well, and actually trying to play some defense. If they don't play defense, and they don't win games. They have to play defense. And in my opinion, Fran McCaffrey is definitely getting the boot after this season, and he is definitely out of Iowa.
So Becky, you want to say something? You want to say something bad about Iowa?
Oh yeah, something bad about Iowa. We just can't. Most of our games in the regular season, we just can't have shots fall. Like, our shots would not fall.
Yes.
Every game that I watched, our shots wouldn't fall.
Shots won't fall, and we don't play defense.
That's
part of why
we don't play.
going to be gone.
Yeah, we don't play defense, and our shots just don't fall.
Yeah,
and I honestly hope we get a way better coach.
Yeah, Fran is going to be gone after this season.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
If you guys make the NCAA tournament, if they make it to the Final Four, maybe he isn't gone.
I think that's what I was trying to say. If Fran leads his team all the way to the end of the Big Ten tournament, wins it, and then goes to the NCAA tournament, and gets to like the Elite Eight, Final Four, that's the only way that guy will keep his job.
Yeah, and even then he may not. Just looking for, because right now, Iowa's total, out of everybody that came, it was 30% the whole entire time. Out of 100, 30% of fans came.
So we're going to move on. How good are the Iowa State clones? Iowa State clones, if you want to call them that. The Iowa State Cyclones. And we're going to talk about some droughts that the Cyclones have had this season. One good, like Iowa State, I feel like some droughts that would for sure be injuries. With Milan Momcilovic out for that long, Tamin Lipsey not playing his greatest with a broken thumb most of the season.
That is definitely
did play through it.
That is definitely something. And Iowa State, they're a good team.
They are. They're very good.
they just lost to BYU by a few points, but they put up a great fight, even if they didn't have their arguably best player playing. So, but yeah, it looks good for Iowa State. If they can get healthy by March Madness, and they'll be able to compete.
Like today, Iowa State lost to BYU, and before the game, I told myself, if we lose this game, I'm fine with it. If we win this game, I'm fine with it. Just because, if it probably wouldn't have mattered much if we did win this game. It really wouldn't. But I kind of wanted to lose a little bit. I mean, you always want to win, but I was fine with us losing because
it gives your players a rest.
Yeah,
and
you
already have that third seed locked up, and you don't really need a second seed. And they might not even give you a second seed even if you win it. So Mosul, your thoughts on that?
Honestly, I think Iowa State's a huge competitor in the NCAA tournament. I think they're at least going to get to the Sweet 16.
Yeah.
Not if the Elite 8. And maybe to the Final Four. I think they're going to get to the Elite 8 and lose to some school. And also an update on the Houston game. This is for March 13th. One of the Colorado player is injured and looks like a leg injury, is being walked off the court.
I think that's Rancic.
Yeah, Rancic.
And his dad.
Sebastian Rancic, his dad played for Iowa State, which very good.
But now we can get to
some Big 12 game recaps.
Yeah.
We're gonna start off Iowa State versus Cincinnati in the Big 12.
No. Let's start with Cincinnati versus Oklahoma State.
Yes. Cincinnati does come out with a win here by a good amount of points, 19 points.
19 points, and they were the 13 seed. Oklahoma State was the 12 seed. So.
Okay, now we're gonna move on to the Colorado TCU game. This game was really fun to watch. I was watching it. Only Colorado getting a 2-point win only versus TCU, and that's crazy. And they go on to beat West Virginia again in the second round.
Yes.
And like we were talking about right now, Colorado versus Houston, the 16 seed, which is the lowest seed, versus the top seed, Houston.
And then K-State beats Arizona State. Not a big surprise. And then
by 5 though.
Yeah, and then Baylor goes on to win by a good amount,
14.
Now they'll play Texas Tech at 6 p.m.
tonight,
and then and then we have Cincinnati, who lost to Iowa State, obviously. So
by 20.
And then Iowa State played BYU earlier, and they lost that game. So, but yeah, we just talked about that game. So
in the Iowa State BYU game, I honestly thought it was going to be one of the greatest games of the Big 12 tournament. Honestly,
yeah,
it was one of the best tournament. I think that was one of the best games that probably could have been played in that tournament because it was a good matchup. Through and through, it was a good matchup. But ultimately, BYU came out on top. I'm not very happy about that because I'm from Iowa. I'm an Iowa fan, but I don't dislike Iowa State.
And, I mean, Iowa State played BYU in the regular season, too, and they just lost by a few points in double OT. So that is always like a good matchup. So that was a great game.
We're just going to move on to the Big Ten now and talk about those games that have already happened. And then after we talk about the games that already happened, we will just say the upcoming games that are going to happen. Becky, you go.
Northwestern at Minnesota.
It's not at Minnesota.
It's at wherever the game was played.
Yeah.
In Indianapolis.
In Indianapolis, according to Evans. Northwestern comes out on top of that game. And then we move on to And then the next game is number 15 Iowa versus number 10 Ohio State. Honestly, didn't expect us to win in the first round. Didn't even expect us to even be in the tournament. But that's just me.
Unimaginably
Expect
relatable.
us to be in the tournament.
And 14 USC against
Number 11.
Number 11 Rutgers. 14 the 14 seed USC
And
comes out on top, and they play Purdue.
You know what I realized about this, though? The top seed in all of these first 3 games won. Number 13 seed beat number 12 seed. Number 15 seed beat the number 10 seed. And the number 14 seed beat the number 11 seed.
Let's see if that continues, because Iowa would definitely win.
Yes, they would. So come on,
keep that up. Keep it up.
Keep it up.
So yeah, that's all I'm hoping for, is at least we make it to the quarterfinals.
Yeah. And then and then we have Oregon against Michigan State, which I think that
Oh no, wait, this one first.
Oh yeah, in Indiana v. Oregon, and Oregon wins that game, and now they will play on March 14th at 12 p.m. Approximately against number 1 Michigan State. And Northwestern Wisconsin is going on right now, actually, with 14 minutes left in the second half. Northwestern is down 36-44 against Wisconsin, and the winner of that game will play UCLA. We have Iowa versus Illinois at approximately 6:30 p.m. And the winner of that will face Maryland.
The number 2 seed, which
Iowa, and then we have USC versus Purdue, and the winner of that game will play Michigan. So a lot of fun games happening. Especially, hopefully, we can get some upsets. But this should be a fun tournament. So we'll move on to the
Big 12 upcoming games. The first game will be already happened with the BYU Cougars beating Iowa State. And then some upcoming games. Well, right now live, which we already said, Houston versus Colorado on right now live. And then after the Houston-Colorado game, we'll have Texas Tech playing Baylor. And then after that, Arizona playing Kansas. The one game that I want to talk about here is the Arizona-Kansas game. I think both teams have a chance to win. I say I say this is going to be the game is it will decide what Kansas Jayhawks team will we see today.
Hunter Dickinson, he's a good player, but I don't know who else they really have.
Zeke Mayo he can shoot pretty well, and also Jawan Harris as their point guard. He's pretty shifty.
In my strong opinion, I thought Kansas would be like the number 2 or 3 team in the country this year. Wasn't there a lot of talk about Hunter Dickinson being really good, and Zeke Mayo being really good, and their point guard being really good, and how they're just going to be this powerhouse super team? Well, I don't think they've shown that. Being the 6th seed in the Big 12 tournament, no offense to the Big 12, but being the 6th seed in the Big 12 tournament, man, I was not expecting that.
The name on the front of the jerseys, their fans, I don't think expected that at the start of the season, and I don't think they ever have, to be honest, as a Kansas fan. We're going to move on now to the SEC games.
And I will be doing the SEC games. And going on right now is the Ole Miss versus Arkansas game. No idea what the score is, but all I know is it's going on. And it should be almost over.
Yeah.
And the Texas A&M versus Texas is also going on right now. And Missouri at Mississippi Missouri is playing Mississippi State at 7 on March 13th. And I honestly think that should be a good game. I hope it's an upset. And you're never gonna know what you're gonna get with tournaments. And the Ole Miss game, I honestly think Ole Miss is gonna win. And A&M game, A&M is probably gonna win because it's like when they shoot, it's nonstop.
Yeah. We're gonna move on to the ACC now, where number 1 Duke comes out on top today. This morning, beating Georgia Tech, but only by 8 though.
But that was not a great game for Duke. First of all,
losing Cooper Flagg.
He was on a wheelchair at a time, and that could be costly, especially for the March Madness tournament.
Yeah, just coming up
not even
now.
Just the ACC tournament. I don't think I'm worried and concerned. I'm not worried about the ACC tournament for Duke, but I am worried about them for March Madness and what that will look like for them.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think having a person in a wheelchair is worse than having them out for 5 weeks.
Yeah. I mean,
especially when it's going into the March Madness tournament.
Yeah. And as a fan, you would rather have someone
else than your best player
get hurt.
Bingo. Yeah.
Yeah, but as a fan, you also need to consider, oh my gosh, I want this guy to play so bad. And some fans are like that, but I feel like if you're a real fan of the Blue Devils, you would support him getting healthier.
Yes, yeah.
In my opinion, he doesn't play the rest of the ACC tournament, and they keep him healthy for March Madness. Because that's where they're going to want him. They don't need him in the ACC tournament.
They don't need him
because they
in the
already
ACC
have the
tournament.
ones he'd secured. So,
they don't got it secured.
They just rest him. In my opinion, they rest maybe another one of their starters because they don't need him.
Yeah. True.
Okay, and then we got Wake Forest versus South Carolina going on right now. North Carolina. Sorry, North Carolina is up by 7 with a score of 45-38 right now. With 14 minutes left in the second half. And then we got Louisville versus Stanford. Sorry. And then at 9:30 p.m. tonight, we have Clemson versus SMU. I really don't. There's not much to talk about here.
The ACC isn't that good. So,
but other than Duke, I haven't seen outstanding stuff happen to Louisville, and they're another number 2 seed. So
nope, me neither.
So we're gonna move on now to making predictions for the Power 4 conferences and who we think are going to win those conference tournaments. I'll start off by saying my 4. With the Big 12, I feel like you gotta go Houston. I feel like. Yeah. Then I'm gonna move on now to the Big 10. I'm not gonna go with Maryland. I'm not gonna go with Michigan State. I'm really gonna go Maryland. I think Maryland has a good shot. Michigan State already has that 2 or 3 seed locked, so I don't think they really need it. Just like Iowa State. Yeah. I'm gonna move on now to the ACC. Duke. That's the only word I gotta say. Duke is winning it. And over at the SEC, I do think. I really don't know for sure, but I feel like you gotta go Auburn.
Yeah. All right. So now time for mine. I'm gonna start off with the Big 12. I'm gonna start with Texas Tech winning it.
Really? I would never guess that.
Nothing against Houston, but I don't know. Upset, baby. For the Big 10, I agree with Micah where Michigan State doesn't need to win, so I'm gonna go with Maryland winning it. And then in the ACC, this is a very controversial pick, but I'm gonna go with Louisville.
Really?
Duke does not Duke has the
That's
1 seed
crazy.
secured. Why does it matter if they win the ACC tournament?
That is true.
It doesn't matter, but it
would help them.
Yeah.
But then they're number 1 in the AP poll now, so they kind of want to keep that.
Yeah, true.
And then my last SEC, I think you just got to go Auburn. I mean, that was, yes, Alabama beat them fair. They beat them, but if Auburn is definitely capable of winning the SEC tournament easily.
And winning the NCAA
They're capable of winning the SEC tournament easily, and they're also capable of losing in the final. Those are the only 2 ways I see them. I either see them winning it or losing in the final. But, Beckett?
Honestly, for the Big Ten, I'm just gonna obviously go Michigan State because that's like the only logical answer for me.
For him.
And I think Houston is gonna come out on top in the Big 12. I honestly don't think that Texas Tech or any other team has a chance at beating them.
Yeah.
And I really didn't know Texas Tech was that good at basketball.
Yeah,
And there's only one word that I have to say for the ACC,
Duke.
along with Micah, is Duke. And then for the SEC, I'm gonna keep the tradition and yell,
Don't yell.
Auburn!
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide is crazy, by the way. Roll Tide is crazy.
Well, that was our segment on the conference championships. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to check out our other podcast on NCSD Tag, and we'll be having we try to do them every 2 weeks, so you can watch for that.
Every 1 or 2 weeks. Yeah.
So we'll see you for now, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.